Alright, and we're back. Here we go. But yeah, man, mix-up is... This water is also very weird. It gives you some strange properties when you're on it, like you skid a little bit. So, that's kind of new. I think it's one of the few instances in the game where that happens. That was a really sloppy, terrible idea. So anyways, yeah, with mix-up and stuff, like I said, you can memorize an entire character's combo list, but that doesn't matter. Do you know how to use your sweeps effectively? Do you know what moves have, like, priority over something? Do you know what moves leave you the most vulnerable? Do you know what combo to branch into after you've whiffed something? Do you know what combo to break, like, another person down with if they haven't whiff punished, like, your moves? Like, it's like playing chess. It really is. That's the only way I can describe playing fighting games, is... It's also another reason why I don't like it as much as something like an FPS. Because FPS is based on reflex, and it's not really the same. So, at the same time, if you're playing as a soldier versus a scout in Team Fortress 2, you know what to expect. You know how to dodge that enemy type, right? Whereas a soldier versus a pyro is a whole different experience, right? You can go, oh shit, they could air blast. You could throw them off. Like, a fighting game is just that concept, just boiled down to a character versus another character. Like, I can tell you exactly what a Fire Fist Liu Kang versus Reptile's gonna be. It's gonna be called I Leave the Match because that person's a piece of shit, first of all. No, I'm kidding. I absolutely understand there's a way to counter it. It's just so fucking hard to beat down. Like, it's just so bullshit. And this is coming from somebody who's played a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh! As well. Like, I never really would consider myself an MK competitive player. But that's the thing, it's like you can know like an entire move list, but it doesn't mean anything. It really doesn't. Because that's the other thing, is you can practice a combo over and over and over and over and over. But the moment you execute it in practice when a person's moving around and attacking, it's not the same versus an AI. That's all I can say, is AIs can be manipulated just like a player, but not as bad. This is also the worst, in my opinion, the worst part of this entire area. Like, this whole section. And I'll get into it in a minute. So, anyways, just keep in mind, I might struggle with this. It's an actually very difficult section. So, alright, here we go. Anyways, yeah, you can totally just memorize every single button input, but what happens when a person dodges you? Then what do? You shit yourself, right? And then what do you follow up into? What do you follow up after that? You can't just keep doing the same move over and over, by the way. That does not work in a fighting game. If a person keeps spamming, you're gonna catch on real quick. And you're gonna be like, what the fuck are they doing that for? And you'll keep catching them, and it's not like it's hard to, like, whiff punish a person that's just not good. And that's not to say that you're bad if you just spam. That's the thing, is fighting games are a very specific kind of game, and they require a very specific type of person to be good at them. And you have to, it's like playing sports, right? You just have to know. It's very specific, and it's very structured, is what I'm trying to get at. Like, it seems like, oh, you can just push buttons and beat somebody. That's true to some extent, depending on how technical the game is, but it's very different in practice. It's like, I can play an AI versus a real opponent, like, and I know what I'm doing is not gonna get away with online. Like, there's certain things you just can't do. You can't even really cheese out an AI by just doing the same move over and over. It starts to adapt after a while, especially in the Mortal Kombat games. Oh my god. Like, it's not as bad as people have made it out to be. I love G-Star's reviews of, like, those games, but yeah, sometimes it's not as bad as it looks. But in the early days, I should say, it's as bad as he shows it off. It's 100%. You get cheesed out because the game knows what you're doing, and it reads your inputs 2 to 3 moves ahead of what you should technically do. So, Mao, what do you want? Are you gonna come in here and harass me? No? You're gonna leave now? Okay. So, oh, excuse me. Like, when it comes down to it, like, fighting games are not my forte. I just really like Mortal Kombat. It's probably nostalgia, but I also just think it's tonally, up until MK11, has been a pretty consistently very reliable series. There's never been, like... It has a very basic tone. It's a fighting game, right? There's no... You know... I don't like Street Fighter specifically for the tone. I know that's stupid. I know the game has a great engine. I just don't like the tone. It's too goofy. Everything looks just so... I don't know. Everything's too beefy and just weird and too anime designs. Like, I just can't get into it. I know that's really petty, but it's so true. It really does come down to simple things like that. Do I prefer, you know, Street Fighter's mechanics to Mortal Kombat? Sure. I guess. They're much more technical, they're more complex, but that doesn't mean I hate them either. I just don't like them very much. I did play Tekken a lot when I was a kid. I played a lot of Tekken 1 and 2 with a couple of friends here and there. Not enough to say I could play it. I probably just spam moves, but, piece of shit. This part is, by the way, do what I'm doing, do not rush ahead. This encounter is very difficult, so... Okay, get ready. That's all I can say. We're gonna fight a lot of shit that's just very, very challenging. So, I'm gonna let that guy take care of that. Do not rush forward. If you rush forward, you're gonna get those red bastards to spawn, and it's gonna be a nightmare. So, yeah, I played a lot of, you know, Tekken 4. I actually rented that a lot when I was a kid, because I actually liked it. Tekken 4, it's good. I like it. It's a fun Tekken game. Tekken 5, I think I played with a friend for a few weeks, and I stopped. I actually almost bought it, because it was years later after it came out and it was on sale. And, yeah, I think Tekken 5 was okay. I thought the fighting mechanics were good. Tekken 6 I have not played. I don't own that game. I don't actually own a single Tekken game, if you're curious. But, yeah, I've always liked Tekken. I think Tekken's fine. Like, it's not like Street Fighter where I feel it's way too anime-inspired and the tone just really gets to me. I don't like anime in general, so it's very hard to sell me on anything with anime aesthetics, because I generally go, oh look, it's the lolly trash character, oh look, it's the furry trash character. So, like, I just don't care. That's kind of why I like Mortal Kombat, is it's a very western-y kind of influence, you know, just give the gals big boobs and the guys thin physique with some muscly characters, and there you go. That's good enough. And that's all I could care. Like, the game looks good, it plays good, it's always been very basic. Street Fighter, just, the anime aesthetic has never appealed to me, and I think the characters are cool. I actually have Street Fighter 2 Turbo regular, by the way, because I had to preface that because there's so many fucking versions of Street Fighter 2, it's just goddamn ridiculous. I'm pretty sure there's more versions of Street Fighter than probably fucking, like, novel genres, okay? There's no way. There's just so fucking many, and that's also another turn-off for me, is... And it's like, oh, it's just like sports games, right? Like, it's just a new roster. It's like, no, they add, like, different moves for each revision. Like, Turbo 2 versus, like, Alpha Turbo 3 is different, and there's, like, there's so much more shit you have to learn, and I don't have the patience to try and go through a series to find a character that I like, to learn the moves, everything like that. It's just way too much. I've always surprisingly wanted to try the Dead or Alive series, because, you know, it's waifu trash, whatever. But also because I've heard it's got a very technically fun fighting engine, and I like I said, I don't care. It's just waifu trash, and I'm okay with that. But, I don't know, the aesthetic of, like, a game really does influence it. And I've played Street Fighter 2 a lot. I've actually played Alpha, I think it was Street Fighter 2 Alpha or something. I don't know. I played a couple in an arcade. I don't know exactly which ones. Do not try to make me quote them. I do not remember. I've also played, I think, Street Fighter 4. Like I said, do not ask me which version, I do not know. And it was okay. I thought it was fine. The closest approximation to a, you know, Street Fighter-esque game I've also played is probably Skullgirls, which I liked. I thought it was fun. You know, I don't care for the aesthetic as much, but the game controlled fine. I thought it was okay. It was just a few times I played it here and there with a friend. It was fun. Not something I'd really consider wanting to learn. I really don't... I don't know how to explain this, but it's so hard when you've played one series of games for so many years. It's like asking to just suddenly marry somebody that's totally different to who you are. Like, it's something that I cannot express is very difficult, because each of those games controls vastly different than the other. Mortal Kombat controls way different than Street Fighter. There's so many more differences. Like, Street Fighter, you have, like, what is it, 3 different types of punches and kicks? Am I right in saying that? And I'm gonna do a skip here with a rocket jump in a minute. I'm just preparing you for the shit that I'm gonna do. So, Mortal Kombat from day one has had high punch, low punch, high kick, low kick, block. Actually, I think it was the very first game to have a dedicated block button in a fighting game. I could be wrong, but I've heard that in numerous places, so I'm pretty compelled to think it's true. Where is this bastard? There we go. They blend in so well in this environment, which is great level design, I actually will say. I know it sounds like it isn't, but to me that's actually pretty good design. Oh god, I might die. No, 1 HP's fine. I don't need anything else. The last hit's all that matters. So, it's not that bad, I promise. I hope this isn't a terrible mistake. There's only a few clear in this area, too. Oh, come on. I know there's 2 clear that spawn in this room. Alright, maybe it's a problem, but whatever. You be the judge. You decide. You choose. Can I make that? Okay, perfect. That's way better. I usually do that with a 2 jump, so that's why... Oh, skip the cutscene. I don't want to watch that. But yeah, to me, it's like... Okay, Tekken is more about throws and, like, chains, so it's not the same as MK, right? Like, it is so hard to learn an entirely different fighting engine to me, because my brain has played Mortal Kombat for the past 20-plus years of existence, so I cannot stress how hard that is to actually change everything you know. And I love the people that can do it, but I don't have the desire to do it, and I know that's really arrogant, but it's true. Like, I don't want to learn an entirely different fighting engine from what I've known for like 20-plus years. Like I said, that's such a boomer thing to say, but you know, it's really true. I can't betray it, right? So, as far as I'm concerned, I'm sure they're great. I don't want to try. But yeah, like, MK has high punch, low punch, high kick, or high kick, low kick, whatever, block. You know, recent games, the most complex shit they've added was like a run meter, which maybe I'm just stupid and not using it, but I've never had any issues AI or online in X or 9 with not using it. But yeah, I don't know. Like, and then of course X-ray is just, you know, the back buttons put together, and I don't even think you need a stick to be good at a fighting game. I know that's also controversial, but I've always used a controller. Specifically, the one I'm using right now is a ZD controller, which is very similar to PS2, like DualShock, which I think is the best controller ever. I will fight somebody on that. It's just such a damn solid controller. There's nothing wrong with it. I guess the biggest problem I have is just Street Fighter has like heavy, low, mid punch, heavy, low, mid kick, even on the Sega Genesis version, which you had to press start, by the way, to do this. It was fucking awful, because on a Sega, you only have like, let me guess, 3 fucking buttons, right? So unless you got a 6-button controller, and even then it still does not feel good. At least to me it doesn't feel good. And this is coming from someone who actually grew up when arcades were still a thing, right? But to me, it's not bad, but, and then there's just like different variations of different supers and EX moves, and it's like, okay. I liked how MK did it with a super move was the EX version, right? Like, it was just 1 meter, and that was it. There's no variations of it. It made the meta more easy to remember and much easier to follow. To me, that's all you need. You don't need any bullshit, because high attacks, low attacks, that's it. You don't need heavy, medium, light. What am I fucking ordering a goddamn thing from Subway? No, I just want, you know, I just want to punch, I want to kick, I want to anti-air, that's it. I don't need all this bullshit. Your variation should just come from using, you know, situational awareness. I don't think it should matter how much damage a move should do, as long as the move just does the damage. That's... I know, like I said, it's just, someone's probably like, oh, you fucking pleb. And it's like, yeah, sure, I get it, I understand. But, I understand that I don't understand, but, you know, to me, that's just a fighting game. A fighting game should be basic, and not so fucking technically complex that it's like filling out a fucking, like, data entry form, okay? Like, to get a car or something in a different state, alright? I just want, like, I want to be able to pick it up and play it, not have to fucking memorize it and get a goddamn college degree in it. And that, to me, is the biggest, probably hypocritical thing about me as a person with this, but that's why I'm like, yeah, just saying a game is good without actually having played it and then not understanding the mechanics. That's why I'm like, I'm sure that these other games are great, but as far as I'm concerned, it's just too much to learn, and I don't want to do it. I don't want to step outside my comfort zone when it comes to fighting games. I mean, I've tried other fighting games with friends, and trust me, I've tried different fighting games, okay? And when I say different, I mean totally not what I'd call a real fighting game, like the Dragon Ball Z Budokai games and like the fucking Naruto Shippuden fucking weird 3D bullshit fighting games. Those aren't fighting games. To me, Smash Brothers isn't a fighting game. It's a fighting game in principle, but here's where I take issue with it. Okay, I'm not gonna doubt professional competitive Smash is very difficult to do. I totally have my highest esteem for those people. They're fantastic at what they do. I couldn't do it. I have no idea where to even start. It's so impressive to me, but I don't think that it's a good fighting game, and it's not really a fighting game. I think the problem with me is Smash is just nostalgia-gasming, and it doesn't really grab me, I guess? I don't know. Like, I'm not bad at Smash, I understand it, but when you have to add so many variations and, like, specific rules as well to make it a fighting game, like, oh, you have to have, what is it, 3 stock, the environment can only be one direction, like the Final Destination style, you can only use certain characters, other characters are either off limits or so overpowered that they can't have that move used or limited. You start to, or items have to be removed, like, there's, or if you have a Mii character, it has to be a specific moveset, like, do you see where I start to take issue with this as an actual fighting game connoisseur, I guess? Like, I get it. Like I said, I could not play Smash, like, at a competitive level, even if I tried. I don't want to, but you see what I mean. I totally get it. It's one of those things where I wish I had the same, like, enthusiasm for it as I do other games, but I just don't. I'm not saying it's terrible either, but that's my rant about that over.